In today's video, we are going to visit the Waterman's Museum, have a very interesting conversation with a model boat builder, and continue working on the engine. Good morning. Today is Saturday, August the 19th. It's about 7 o'clock or so in the morning. I've been up for an hour or so, had a few cups of coffee, got my PJs on because, well, I sleep naked. Well, I guess y'all didn't need to know that. But anyway, I put clothes on in case someone walks by the boat. Today's video is probably the video I have enjoyed editing the most. I enjoyed watching it several times. I found it very informative. And the characters in the video are very interesting. The Diane, who's I guess an administrator curator at the museum, the Waterman's Museum that we're going to visit, and Bruce Brown, who is the model boat maker. They were very interesting to speak with. They were great in giving me time and allowing me to use them on camera. So I hope you enjoy that part. The other things that we're going to cover is going back to the engine work. So you'll see me working on the engine and see what issues I have in this continuing trying to find out how come I'm not pumping water the way it should. Okay, I want to thank everybody who's been watching the videos and commenting. I want to thank all of you that have subscribed. I just need 30, 40, 50 more people to hit 1,000 subscribers. So if you're watching this video, please hit that subscribe button. I guarantee you'll like the content. Or you'll at least like making fun of me. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's see, is there anything else? Oh yeah, the stickers. The stickers that I offered to send out last week. Thank you for the people who have requested those. They're on the way. If you would like to get a sticker of the SV Excalibur, the monkey on the seahorse, just go to Facebook Messenger on SB Excalibur on Facebook. You can message me your address and I'll send you a sticker. Or you can go to Gmail, that's Excalibur Refit at Gmail, and I will send you a sticker. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the video. The power is off at the marina, so I'm having to use flashlights and whatever to get this done. So the first thing I have to do is loosen the alternator. Having never taken off an alternator, I'm not exactly sure how to do this, but first thing to do is to actually mark that so I know where it goes back. So that's marked. Okay, so what I'm doing first is just loosening the alternator. Oh, one wrong way. Let's see. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. There we go. Yeah, when you go lefty loosey, righty tighty, but when you're doing it backwards, it's the opposite. Yeah, I kind of cut out an hour that you're not actually seeing because it took me a while to figure out that I had to actually loosen the bottom bolts to get the alternator to rotate. I kept pushing on it and it wouldn't move, so it took me a while. And then it took me another few minutes to figure out that there was a bolt on the back I had to loosen as well. Like I said, I ain't all that damn mechanical, but I'm learning.
Out on the lake, we're headed out to a special place we love, but just a few folks know there's no sign in.
There we go. There we go. Should I get it pushed far enough I can get this belt off? Come on. I'll take it off the bottom. That'd be easier to get off the bottom. Then I get off there. There we go. There we go. Alrighty. Got the belt off. Let's see. Gotta get those two bolts right there off. Looks like a damn lock nut. It is a lock nut on the back.
Monthly dues, take your Johnson, your Mercury, or your Evan Root, and fired up. Meet us out a party cold. Come on in, the water's fine. Just idle on over and toss us a line. Bass trackers, bail liners, and a party barge strung together like a floating trailer park. Anchored out and getting loud all summer long. Side by side, there's 5-ounce boat front porches, astroturf lawn chairs, and tiki torches.
Wait, oh, damn it, that hurt.
Rocking the boat, that's us, the Redneck Yacht Club. Yo, man, I sing it like Bermuda flip-flops and a tank top 10. He pumped his first top at 10 a.m. That's Bob, he's a president. We're checking out the girls on the upper deck, rubbing in the 15 SPS. As you can see, I have another stuck screw.
This is like copper screws. Got it loose. Well, there's nothing wrong with the impeller. It's got a little crack in it. Yeah, it does. Well, pull them. I work in here. Push the size in. Probably just get with a screwdriver, but works too. See that? Just that up a little bit. There we go. Well, just went up to Marina office. We don't have power, so they closed. But the general manager, Jamie, we went and looked for an impeller that would fit that, and he didn't have one. So I'm gonna have to try and search the boat here in the dark. We're gonna probably be without power for another 4 or 5 hours. So we'll see. Well, after searching, I found them. I knew I had some, and I found the pump. All right, so I found another pulley in my box of stores. So what I'm gonna do, I mean, I may not be able to use this, but I'm gonna go take it and have them check it. If they can check it, I don't know. But what I'm gonna do is pull this flywheel off this pulley, off this one here. I coated it with PB Blaster, and then I loosened up the nut that holds the pulley on. And so I tried to tap the pulley off. I couldn't. So I'm going to use this is what I use to pull my whatchamacallit out. The impeller. So I'm going to try and use this to pull this thing off, if I can get it adjusted correctly. So I can lock these things on this thing. Okay. Now I've never done this before, but what the hell? Let's give it a try. I understand the concept.
Everybody's jumping in.
Look at that. Got it off. Alrighty. So now I'm going to take them up to the shop up here at the marina and ask the mechanic which one I should put back on. Okay, and if I put this on, I'm going to change these things here somehow or another. I got to figure that out, but we'll figure it out. All right, so thought y'all like to see how a novice does stuff. If you take your time and use your brain, you can get things done sometimes. I am over here in the shop that allow me to use the vise to try and get these things here off. I don't know, I'm getting those off. So I think I'm just gonna go try and buy new things for this. Okay, so I'm gonna pivot on this engine just a little bit. You know, I've been working on the water pump. Last night I actually found another water pump. So this is the other water pump, little Jabsco pump. So I found another one, and then today I went and found, you know, parts to put in here because I could not get these things off. So I went to a plumbing supply place and got stuff. The only thing is, even though I know this how this was done, I don't like the idea of soldering this because, you know, somewhere along down the road with vibrations and stuff, the solder could come loose. So I've ordered stuff from Amazon to do this all in screws. So that's not going to come till tomorrow. So what I've decided to do, coming back down here to the engine, is I'm going to go ahead and take the heat exchanger off. I just watched somebody else on YouTube do it on this exact engine. And so I'm going to take that heat exchanger off because I'm actually missing a fin from an impeller that I replaced a couple of months ago, or longer than that, 5 or 6 months ago. So I'm going to go ahead and take that heat exchanger off. Of course, to get to the back of the heat exchanger, I've got to clean this crap up out of here, which I was going to go buy another toolbox today, but I kind of want to wait before I spend some more money to put some of my tools in, but I still might. That's just part of living on a boat and not worrying about anybody coming to see you. You just throw stuff everywhere. So I went and got some barnacle buster up at the office there. I actually put the other side back on of the heat exchanger, and I poured this stuff down in there. And you can see it's this barnacle buster. Seems to be doing a fairly decent job. I mean, it's bubbling, bubbling, bubbling. So now I need to find something to stick down into all the holes. So what I found was a clothes hanger, and the curly edges work perfectly. And you see it's really cleaned out well. Have a new problem. As I was putting the ends back on the heat exchanger, I dropped one of the bolts into the cockpit drain, and so now I've got to get to that drain, which is right here, and so that bolt went all the way to the bottom of the thing, so I get that off to get that bolt out. The bolt is a copper or brass bolt, and I'm not sure where I'm gonna find another one of those. So that's boat life, baby. What I'm doing here is using an inspection camera to look inside the exhaust elbow to see how clogged up it is. And what I'm doing here is just showing you how difficult it was to get to the exhaust elbow and why I cussed so much, and the reason there's not any footage of it. Got it off. Now I just got to break it apart. Let's see what happens with that. Never seen anything so damn hard in my whole life. All right, that's it for today. I'm gonna put PB Blaster in it and let it sit overnight and try it again tomorrow. I don't think I've ever seen anything this difficult to get out. Makes me wonder if I just should go ahead and bite the bullet and buy a new one and not have to worry about it. But damn, I hate spending money that I don't have. Decision. I think I'm just gonna buy a new elbow. Cause if this thing's this hard to get off right now, you know, how hard is it gonna be to get off in a year or 2 years, however long this lasts. So even though I can't really afford it, I think that's just the best thing to do is just go ahead and buy a new elbow. Okay, here in Yorktown at the Fisherman's Museum. Oh, actually, it's the Waterman's Museum. I got the name wrong. So here it is. You can see what it costs to go in. I'm not real happy about that, but it is what it is.
We tell the story of anybody that makes their living on water, starting with the American Indian to today's Navy, Coast Guard, fishermen, ship captains, and European dock owners. As long as they're making their living on the Chesapeake Bay or over in England on the Thames River, they're considered a lawman. Turn that came from England to this area. The Chesapeake Bay is the largest bay in the United States. It was formed by meteor and glacier. 35 million years ago, the seventh largest meteor hit the Earth right in here.
Okay, that's interesting.
It sent a tsunami all the way to what is Ohio and all the way down to what is the Florida Keys.
Ah.
Then the glacier came through and finished moving the land around pretty much what we have today. We're right here in Yorktown on the York River, which is not a river. It's an estuary.
Oh, okay.
It's tidal and salt. We get dolphins out here every year.
Oh. Yeah, I knew it was brackish of sorts.
Yeah, it's brackish. Well, it's so all went to about here. Then it turns brackish, and after West Point, we've got fresh water coming in, so it kind of mixes in that area.
Okay, that's cool.
This property used to be Hornsby Oil. It's pictured right there. It was here to fuel cars that were getting on the ferry that went from the Gloucester side of the river to this side of the river. In 1952, when they opened up the first Pulley Bridge, the governor came, drove across the bridge and dedicated it, rode the ferry back, and decommissioned the ferries.
That's interesting.
Yes. That means the cars quit coming because they weren't getting on the ferry. There wasn't much here in Yorktown at the time.
Right.
So Hornsby Oil ended up closing.
Okay.
And they owned the property, so they capped off the things, cleaned the property up, and let the buildings sit. They sat for quite a few years, and in the late 70s, the owner's daughter, Marion, and a friend of hers, Nancy, wanted to start a Waterman's Museum. Marion's grandfather had been a waterman and had a lot of watermen in the area. They asked if they could use the property since nobody was using it and it had buildings, and Hornsby gave it to them. So they started with the buildings that were here. Of course, they weren't in the best of shape that they could get started. And in the early 1980s, the man bought some property across the river. Property's just up the river. Beautiful house on a bluff overlooking the river without buildings to match it.
Uh-huh.
But the man and woman that bought the property couldn't use those buildings for their family. They wanted the property.
Gotcha.
So they said if anybody comes and takes this house and the outbuildings, you can have it. You pay us $1 the state requires to transfer the title and remove it. So Marion and Nancy went over and looked at them, ended up giving them $1, raised the money they needed, got the people they needed, went over and lifted the buildings, put them on steel beams. Then they took barges over, and starting with the house, took it down to the river, put it on a barge, started across, and hit a sandbar.
That sounds like a sailor for sure.
They hadn't taken into account that when the house was built in the 30s on that bluff, the man wanted his house to withstand hurricanes, and instead of putting wood lath in all the walls, he put extruded steel.
Oh.
So it was much heavier made for him.
Gotcha.
It sat on the barge in the river for 6 weeks until a king tide came in, took it off the sandbar. Then they could finish building the house.
Oh, yes.
Then they brought the rest of the buildings over without any problem.
So is that this house here?
That's this house here.
Oh, okay.
This picture right up there.
Thank you very much. What was your name?
Diane.
Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
Entering the, whatever she said it was, I forgot. I did not know the history of the Chesapeake Bay. Pirates of the Chesapeake. So plantations. All right. Let me read a little bit here first. It says that the pirates didn't always deal in gold and jewels, but wanted more easily disposable items like tobacco. So they raided the tobacco ships. Oh, there was a tea party in Yorktown and boycotts. It's interesting to note that Virginia, Lord Dunmore, I guess was the governor, last British governor of Virginia, ordered that any slave that joined the British troops could have his freedom. So over 30,000 slaves from Virginia joined the British, and over 100,000 from all over the colonies also joined the British. The Continental Army did not allow free blacks or slaves to serve under arms. They did serve as teamsters and workers. And then by 1981, soldiers were being recruited. So it's interesting to note that for the most part, Black Americans did not participate. Well, they did participate. Let me rephrase that. They were more likely to join the British for their freedom, which I could understand, than to join Americans for their independence. Cornwallis gave the order to eject the escaped slaves, especially those with disease, because what happened is that there were smallpox ran rampant through the slaves during the war. Smallpox, typhus, things of that nature. So at the first, when the British were trying to escape, the first ones to throw off the bus or throw off the ship were the slaves who had come to their defense in hopes of their freedom. And here we have a lot of information about the causes of the War of 1812 and the War of 1812 on the Chesapeake. And the black watermen that came to the Chesapeake, because it was a lot of jobs and it was low startup costs. And the late 1880s and most of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, more than 80% of the oystermen were black men, or black people, I should say.
Later on, when the sun goes down, we'll pull out the jar and that old guitar and pass them around. Mass trackers, bay liners, and a party barge strung together like a floating trailer park, anchored out, getting loud all summer long.
1819, and it was on this ship a group of Portuguese boats that found the strait. Actually, it had been already found by Chinese explorers, and they had told. I just learned this a little bit ago. They had told the Christian monks who had come from Portugal into China, and they were telling them about the way into the strait, which would have been, just looked like one more of the things that would be river deltas. But they told them how to find it, and lo and behold, when they did that, it got Magellan's name.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. And so you started this in September, huh?
Yeah.
How long?
We're closed from Christmas till 1st of April.
Gotcha.
So I haven't been working on it until back again in April.
Okay.
That's when I started.
And so, did you build all these as well?
Yeah, and most of the ones around the room. Yes.
And how long does it take you to build one like this?
Well, generally about 2 months.
About 2 months.
Yeah, I'm here 4 days a week.
Yeah.
I used to think I was coming here for like 30 hours, 35 hours a week.
Yeah.
I'm getting lazy, so I'm actually what I'm doing nowadays is reading the newspaper, bringing my journal up to date, reading some devotional material, and then finally I make it here by 11.
Well, very nice, Mr. Brown. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate the history.
To go.
So, how'd you get started building boats?
Well, there was two ways. One was when I was in grad school, I broke my foot one summer instead of being able to go hiking in the Sierras.
Uh-huh.
And my brother-in-law, I believe it must have been him, my naval brother-in-law. By the way, his duty in the Navy, play tennis. Poor baby, had to spend his career over there, suffering for America in Hawaii, where he could even bring his wife over there and he played tennis. Anyway, he was the one that suggested I might like to build a model ship once I broke my foot.
Yeah.
Well, I got around finally to a second model, and it sat in the box unfinished for a long time until we moved here to Virginia. And coming over here to see what the rigging should look like. This is a clipper ship, one of Donald McKay's great ships. Well, I discovered they had a bunch of boats that needed attention. There's the very thing I was doing,
Right.
Re-rigging or cleaning up cobwebs and broken spars and stuff like that. That's what I did late in the summer of 2012. So I've been here ever since.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a little hobby's turned into a bigger hobby.
Yeah, yes.
Hey, good. So how many ships have you built here, do you
About
think?
200.
About 200?
Yeah, I do have a list someplace. That includes ones that I have repaired for
Right.
people.
All right.
The neatest one of which was a guy last year. He had been given this model of the Constitution of Old Ironsides, but it was made of ivory.
Ah.
And it it was ivory looking, but was plastic.
Oh.
It had been whatever it was. It may have actually been ceramic of some sort,
Right.
because part of it appeared to have been poured. Anyway, so that thing was broken, and some of the pieces actually had fallen down into the hole.
Uh-huh.
And fortunately, the other part about which is kind of a serendipity, the bow had broken, so I could reach in and get the things that had fallen into the hull of the thing. And I repaired it, and then he gave us a nice stipend when we're done to
Right.
the museum.
Right. Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
this is volunteer work, and I love it.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good.
But I've had a number of those. I did a Chinese junk for the guy that runs the carrot tree restaurant here, and numerous other folks,
Okay.
that have come with things that have gotten busted.
And what's the most difficult one or the most intricate one that you've done?
I think there's two. One is the constellation. It's in that back window on the left. You have to look around that opening there. That one, when I began to work on that, for all I knew, it was going to be the same as a Constitution.
Uh-huh.
But once I got myself over to Baltimore to see it, it's in the Baltimore Harbor.
Right.
Harbor, I discovered it was 11 feet shorter.
No.
Had that many fewer guns, and it had a different placement of the captain's quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Took me 6 months to build that one.
Oh, okay.
And the other one was the Lafayette's Le Hermione.
Uh-huh.
It's on the back wall, their brightly colored one.
Right.
That's the one that came here after being reconstructed starting in 1997 in Europe, in France, and it came to America in 2015. Immediately after I had had a heart attack. It was the first thing I ever did after that heart attack was to walk from here over to the pier to get on one of the 3-masted boats or so, to watch it to come out of the mist and become fabulous. One of the greatest things in the whole world.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's just great.
A really fine conversations. It's this one right here.
That's like burning.
That's St. Paul, the ship on which St. Paul was shipwrecked.
Oh, okay.
If you go to the New Testament, to the book of Acts of the Apostles, the last 2 chapters, 27, is where Luke describes what happened to him and Paul. As that boat had entered a 2-week-long storm.
Yeah, I remember the story.
And this is about as faithful as I can be to what that was.
Wow, it's gorgeous. It's nice, and
that's a Liburnian, as the Romans called their merchant ships. And everything in Acts gives you the feeling. Gives you the assurance that you are reading a first person's tale of what happened. This is not some landlubber someplace who gets told about this. This is the guy who, from chapter 16, he has been using us and we. He's not been talking about Paul. He's talking about Paul and me. Here's what happened to us. We nearly died on this ship, except that Paul said from the beginning, the angel told me, he said, that if we all stay with the ship, nobody will perish. See, I have another one, though, 20th century. Shackleton. Are you acquainted with Shackleton? Shackleton in the Endurance went down to Antarctica, anticipating going across Antarctica. He had a group of British explorers with him. And unfortunately, this boat, by the way, you notice it's both steam and sail, or the Endurance, got caught in pack ice.
I remember this story.
In January of 16. And it took it 11 months. It moved 1,000 miles, caught in that ice. And then finally it crushed in November. And then they got out, of course, well in advance. And they took 3 of the little boats, including the one called James Caird. And Shackleton and 5 other guys went 800 miles to South Georgia Island, where they knew there was a whaling station. And they got help. It took them 5 months, but they got back there in August, having had left in April, and nobody perished. One of the great stories of exploration. Because there are so many other ones. One is one I've got. In fact, it's on the counter on the left-hand side. The Terror. There was the Terror and the Erebus, 2 British ships in the 1840s that were never seen again after they went to the Arctic. I've got the Terror done, and I've got a kit to make the Erebus. Actually, I did that at the behest of a kid who's over at the Coast Guard station. He was helping me for a bit, but then he got shipped off for duty, and I don't know if he's back yet or not.
That's interesting. Well, thank you, Mr. Brown.
Side by side, there's 5 houseboat front porches, astroturf lawn chairs and tiki torches, regular Joes rocking the boat that's up.
See a lot of the antique boat building tools. Different clamming boats, horse-trading boats. And here's a watercraft at Chesapeake. There's a skipjack, which many of you know about, the horse training with the skipjack.
The Redneck Yacht Club.
Here's a model of the skipjack with the oysters on deck. I thought that was pretty cool myself.
The party's over and we're all alone. We'll be making waves in a no-wake zone. Fast trackers, bay lighters, and a party barge strung together like a floating trailer park, anchored out and getting loud all summer long.
This is the part of the museum that shows how power came to the Chesapeake on the different boats.
Side by side, there's 5 houseboat front porches, astroturf lawn chairs and tiki torches. Regular Joes rocking the boat that's us. The Redneck Yacht Club. The Redneck Yacht Club. Na 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 na.
I thought this was pretty interesting about one of the first engines for boats.
Redneck Yacht Club. The Redneck Yacht Club.
This one here details how the Chesapeake area was actually formed. And of course, this is the boat shop where they do repairs on boats, put them back together for different reasons. For showing, telling the different stories. You can see here one that's undergoing a restoration. And of course, many of y'all know these old engines. This is what's called a Chesapeake Bay dead rise. Designed for oystering, clamming, and catching crabs. This is a twin-masted boat. This is the Pale Moon. Of course, the museum sits out on the York River or York Estuary, as I've learned. Also, here's a cannon from the 1700s. And I don't know what the significance of the bell is. Okay, so I'm just finishing up editing this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it and editing it. Like I said, I did a lot of different things with it, and I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed the content. I enjoyed the video itself, so I hope you did. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you leave a comment, or if you didn't, make sure you leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see. In future videos, I think I'm going to go and visit a few more areas when I can. Things like that, things that have more of a nautical nature, maybe some that may not have, but we'll see. Also, so, like I said, if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button, and I want to thank my patrons. Of course, they're seeing the video a few days earlier without commercials. If you want to be part of that, you know how to do that. Just go to Patreon/SVExcalibur. And with that, I think this video's been long enough, so we'll see you next week. And Merry or Happy Easter, even though it's going to be a couple of days late when you see this. See ya.